Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, now I'm going to be going over the second week in February. So what I'm talking about is February 8th through the 14th. I'm going to be going day by day in accordance to where the moon is and what nakshatra it's in and how all the other planets are placed relative to the moon. Now, I don't have a birth chart to work with, so I'm looking at the planets, how they associate with each other. I am in Dallas, Texas, so I am looking at Central Standard Time for when the planets are changing. You may want to adjust this to where you are living. And I'd love to hear where you are. So down in the comments, please put where you're listening from. I would love to know and see you. So with this, each and every time the moon changes signs, we feel it. Now, another thing is, if you want to know how all of this affects you on a more personal level, remember you're going to want to get my Galactic Planner, which takes your chart and applies all of these transiting planets to you, and you will be better guided personally. What I'm reading is for the world, for the public at large. So let's get going here. So let's just dig in and start looking at February 8th, which is a Sunday. So I'm looking at Sunday, February 8th, and the moon is all day in Libra, but it's going to be mainly in the nakshatra Swati, but I do think it's going to move out. No, it's in Swati until around 6:30 at night. It will go into the nakshatra called Vishaka. And altogether, Swati is all about business and convincing people, people that are into sales. But as it shifts into Vishaka, people become more determined. This nakshatra is called the undefeated one. Its symbol is a triumphal archway, so it deals with triumph and victory. It's very, very potent and strong. Now, the moon is today being aspected by Jupiter. Jupiter's casting a trine to the moon. So I feel like this is a much more auspicious day to get things done. And actually, we have Jupiter, Rahu, and Moon in a grand trine. I would predict that this is a time that things are improving on the front of the economy, but we have a lot of other variables we're dealing with. Now, Venus on this day is square Uranus. So what I'm seeing with that is in love, in relationships. Be aware there may be some kind of blocks or things that just doesn't make it feel right. Be careful in your communications with your loved ones, and particularly in a relationship. Now, it could even be that somebody attractive could be attracted to you. Be aware. This Venus-Uranus energy is about sudden attractions. So that's kind of cool. But all at the same time, this is a good day. Things day in and day out change. And this is a good day to plan meetings, to get things done, to move forward. I like this Sunday. So now I'm looking at Monday, February 9th. And the moon is in Libra. Most of the day, it will shift later on in the day, a lot later. Let's see. It will shift from Libra to Scorpio by around 2:30 Central Standard Time. But for the most part, half the day it's in Libra and the other half of the day it's in Scorpio. And in the evening it's in Scorpio. While it's in Libra, things are more congruent. People are getting along a lot better. But as it shifts into Scorpio, which is around 2:30, it becomes more emotional, more emotionally charged. It's still in the first part of the day or the evening in the nakshatra Vishaka. Vishaka is that undefeated strength and strong one. But in Scorpio, while the moon is debilitated, people are irrational. And here's another reason why. The moon will oppose Uranus, and this will be around, it will be going into the early evening, and people will be irrational, people will not be in their right minds, and things will change quite rapidly. So this is something to be aware of, that people's irrational behavior comes about on February 9th. And one more thing, you could use this day for changing things in your home, such as redecorating or changing furniture around, do a little feng shui, because Venus being in the 4th house from the moon allows for something to be improved on the home front. Now, let's go to February 10th. This is a Tuesday, and the moon is still in Scorpio the entire day, and it's going to be in the nakshatra Anuradha. Anuradha is a nakshatra of friendship, coming together with people that you're comfortable with, you want to spend time with. But the moon is still kind of in an awkward position, being debilitated in Scorpio. And really, the planets that I feel like are in a good state today are Venus, Mercury, because they are basically in the 4th house from the moon. And that means you feel like spending more time at home. It's more pleasant in the home front. But you know, Mars and the Sun are together in the 3rd house, which you might unexpectedly have to hop in the car and go somewhere. It's about travels. And if you have brothers or sisters, you might find today is a day that you don't get along so well with them. So steer clear of any conflicts with siblings. Now I'm looking at February 11th. This is a Wednesday, and the moon will be in Jesta. And if I could say, the moon debilitated in Scorpio, but in the nakshatra Jesta is the most difficult. Emotionally, people they just are not acting normal. Why? Because then we're looking at a moon later in the day that's Gandanta in the last degrees of a water sign, and that makes people crazy, irrational, out of control. That's what I want you to know. It's still pretty good for decorating and things of that nature, but I still give you caution. Dealing with friends, dealing with people are not in their right minds on this day. So now I'm looking at Thursday, February 12th. And the moon will shift into Sagittarius. It will be pretty much in Sagittarius the entire day. And it is in the nakshatra called Mula. Mula is a difficult nakshatra, let me warn you. It is where people can become very destructive, self-destructive for the most part. But be aware that people are not normal again. But with Mars and Sun being in the 2nd house from the moon, I will say that on this day, people spend more money. And the Sun is about to change signs. As a matter of fact, maybe by the end of the day, the Sun will have transited into Aquarius, but this is the day it changes signs from Capricorn to Aquarius. And also we have a number of things happening. February 12th, we have where Mercury will be conjunct Rahu and opposed Ketu. So Mercury is tied up with Rahu Ketu. Remember, this deals with travel. Things can go haywire with travel on this day. Be very hectic, difficult. Another thing is communications. People cannot get their point across, and people will be taken wrong, misunderstood. And another thing that's going on February 12th is that Mars is going to be in a quincunx to Jupiter. And that kind of destroys the positive energies of Jupiter on this day. So I'm going to say it is a day of disruption. And yeah, maybe travel. I wouldn't travel on this day if I could prevent from it. But you really need to know your own birth chart, not just what's going on. If you plan on traveling, you got to look at your birth chart. Just because something could be going on in the area of travel may not affect you personally, but it will some people that have planets tied up with this Mercury Rahu. That's how it goes. So the Saturn Neptune are getting really close now. They're within a degree, so there's so much going on concerning deception, deceit, denials around the world. Things are heated up. There's problems all over, and a loss of communication and major issues with travel. So let's go up to Friday. Oh, it's Friday the 13th. Yes, February 13th. And the moon will be in Sagittarius the entire day, and somewhere in the early morning hours the sun came into Aquarius. So happy birthday for sidereal Aquarians. I know Western astrologers are like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. The sun just entered Aquarius on Friday the 13th, or in the wee hours of the morning. Now, looking also at this, with the moon being in Sagittarius, it is opposed Jupiter. So this sheds some light on some good things. And I love the fact that, well, the moon is also in Purva Ashada. This is the nakshatra of truth and fact-finding. So there's going to be some things that come out that shed light on the truth today, especially with Jupiter casting its light to the moon. And be careful around choosing your words carefully, because Mars does go to the second house from the moon. But all of these planets, Sun, Venus, Rahu, Mercury, they're sitting in the third house from the moon. So still, I think things have gone haywire in the areas of travel on this day leading into the weekend. So now let's go to Saturday, February 14th. This is Valentine's Day. Wow, Valentine's Day lands on a Saturday today. Make your restaurant reservation early. And you know, in a lot of restaurants, they have special plans and menus for Valentine's Day, but you got to make your reservations early or they fill up. I used to be in the business. I know all about this. So anyway, looking at this, the moon will enter into Capricorn, which this will happen around 2:30. And with it being in Capricorn, pretty much it's going to start to get close to Pluto, which can be very intense emotionally. But the moon in Capricorn, people are a little bit more serious. They're not as open-hearted with the moon being here in Capricorn. And yeah, so Mars is in the same sign of the moon, and Mars is really intense, by the way. It's been in Capricorn this whole month of intensity, and people are upset and angry around the world by so many things dealing with war, aggression, fighting. And the moon being in Capricorn will kind of have people thinking more about government changes around the world. So much happening. It's a crazy world we live in. I'll say that right now. But with Venus, Sun, Rahu, Mercury in the second house from the moon. This means people will be spending a lot more money today, but be cautious because Rahu there means it can be a little bit too much spending. And the other instance is that with the way these planets are grouped together, we're looking at a dark moon. So the moon is behind the sun. And I find that that's a time when really you need to buckle up and lay low, because it's not a time for beginning new things. Let me just say that. So celebrate Valentine's Day around love and romance, but do not start any brand new projects while the moon is dark and it is behind the sun. That cannot happen till we get closer to the new moon. So that covers the second week in February. And what I want you to know is, if you haven't signed up for my free newsletter, do it now. You'll get all my predictions delivered to your email free. Go to galacticcenter.org. And remember, if you want to study with me, become my student. The university is about to start semester 1 all over again, and that's February 18th. So next week, get ready, put it on your calendar, and become my student. Thank you.